When you finished with the series, you took some time off and in your book, and then you wrote a book, and you sort of laid low for 2 years. Were you not in conflict with yourself, not really working the way you had been in the past?
I was doing a little searching, you know, a little digging.
Well, okay, let me go back now to, and we'll get some things out of the way, with Star Trek.
Okay.
Obviously, you've played many characters and done a tremendous amount of stage work, but you are most identified with Mr. Spock. And I have read everywhere that this, to some degree, has been a burden. Has it really been a burden?
I've never seen it as a burden. I think that it might sound more dramatic for me to say, oh, it's been terrible, Rona. You know, I've really had a bad time with it. It's simply not true. It has created enormous opportunities for me. Everything that I do, have done in the last 10 years, all the opportunities that have come because of the exposure and the recognition that Mr. Spock and Star Trek gave me.
Sitting next to you, below you,
Friend of mine.
Is a very wonderful man, a friend of yours,
Yeah.
Vincent van Gogh.
Yeah.
In your series In Search Of, you tackle mysteries for which there are only fragmented clues. Science fiction also does that. We know only so much scientifically, and then the rest must be imagined. Is there an emotional link for you between these two forms?
Is there an emotional link?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure I can give you an intelligent answer to that question. On the series, I realize that there are certain stories that we do that I am more emotionally or intellectually curious about or interested in than others. We do a wide range of subjects. Some are subjects which I know very little about and I discover.
Are you particularly intrigued by the unknown?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Is there a link between your own desire to find out a lot more than that which is already in books?
I'm a very curious person. I think one of the things that I enjoy most about being an actor is that the different kinds of material that I get to play leads me into areas where I'm discovering things that I probably would not discover in some other line of work.
Where does the curiosity come from?
I don't know.
Did you always have it?
Yeah, because I can still remember to this day, I can still remember taking apart the family clock, trying to find out what made it work, and then I couldn't put it back together again. Very embarrassing parts all over the kitchen table, you know.
We were holding up Vincent van Gogh a moment ago.
Mm-hmm.
What's your affinity for him?
I see him as a hero. To me, he's a really heroic figure. It may sound strange because most people, when you say Vincent van Gogh, they say, oh, that was the crazy guy that cut off his ear. Vincent and his brother, both, Theo, I see as heroes. Theo supported Vincent for the last 10 years of Vincent's life. And through some tough times, when Vincent's paintings were not selling, it was a little ahead of the market, if you will. There were a lot of people who thought that he was insane. I sincerely believe that he was an epileptic, that he was having epileptic seizures. There were 2 doctors who diagnosed him as epileptic. And with all of that, with the difficulty of not selling, and with the difficulty of being sick, and with the difficulty of a miserably unfortunate, pathetic, funny love life, nothing really ever worked for him in his relationships with ladies. In spite of all of that, he turned out 1,800 pieces of work in a 10-year period.
You defend Van Gogh's madness in Search Of. You've played McMurphy in Cuckoo's Nest. You've played the psychiatrist in Equus. And I think you played a psychiatrist in The Body Snatchers. And therefore, I'm beginning to wonder, Leonard, is there some relationship here that we have never been able to...
It's a very interesting question. Most people ask me if I have an affinity for playing people with ear problems. You're asking me if I have an affinity for people with mind problems.
Well, it's apparent to me by the things that you have done that obviously you are certainly not a surface human being. Why do you think it's so important for you to have attained fame, recognition?
You know, it really isn't.
What's it in search of?
It really isn't important. I never set out to be famous. I never set out to be wealthy. Never expected to make much money in this field. Never expected a lot of recognition. I wanted recognition from other actors. That was always important to me. I wanted to be respected by other actors.
Did that pose a problem, though, for you as a young man growing up? Is it that you never thought of yourself in another way? I mean, most people
Probably.
think of themselves always as leading people.
Yeah, maybe it did. But I think I was kind of protecting myself against the possibility of disappointment. If I don't reach too high, then perhaps I can achieve a reasonable degree of success without feeling any sense of failure. I would like to set limited goals for myself and achieve them and do the best work that I possibly can do. And when I took the Spock job, the job of playing the Spock character, that to me made perfect sense because it was a character. I always admired people like Lon Chaney and Paul Muni who stepped completely into characters and hid inside those characters so that they were completely submerged.
But if the character had failed, it would have been the character that had failed and not Leonard Nimoy.
There have been characters that I've done that have not become enormous public successes. I would take my share of the responsibility. You know, I wouldn't say, well, I didn't like him. You know, I'd say, well, what did I do wrong? Maybe I should have played him differently. Maybe I should have done a better job. I don't know. Something worked in the marriage between myself and Spock. I guess I understood him, identified with him, felt comfortable playing him, and there were obviously elements in him that an audience could respond to.